Okay, so this time we made it at least 40 minutes before the stream cut out. So yeah, we will try this again. Hopefully we don't have the same issues that we had last time. We made it about 40 plus minutes through the last one, so we will see if maybe we can salvage this. Hello. So I do have the comments from the last one, and I'm going to run through those real quick. Hello, Salami. So hopefully this time we don't have the same issue and we can get through this, but let's go back to sharing the screen here real quick. Okay, and I did have the other comments that were from our previous video still pulled up, and I'm going to go ahead and go through those real quick. So we were looking after Black and White. We had taken a look at Hex, and I'm guessing that where did we leave off? Was it Black and White, or did we actually take a look through Hex's coffees? I'm going to nominate Poem again just for that, just for the bit. I don't think Poem actually fits into the category. But yes, where did we leave off based off of the last one? Because we have quite a few comments that we're actually going through before we had issues with the stream freezing. Black and White was on my screen when it froze. And I think that's what I saw as well. So I don't know if we discussed Hex. Did we discuss Hex before Black and White, before the screen froze? Or I should say the stream froze. I saw something about Hex. What coffee shop is that? I really like the Tumblr. Which one was that one that we were looking at? Oh, this one's Defer. So that's where I left off. I was looking at Defer. I was trying to find their Tanzanian coffee. I didn't see it on the website, but yeah, Defer. That's the name of it. DEFER, and they're from Pittsburgh, I believe. I saw something about Hex. Yes. Okay. So I think that we did discuss Hex. I will pick up from there then. And after that, we had a suggestion for Defer, and that's what I was looking at. But I was responding to Mac's comment, and Mac had asked, well, he had said, I have to say, Shoebox has thoroughly impressed me so far. And I asked Mac, which coffees is he working on from Shoebox? So, Mac, if you're back, there you go. Okay, Mac. So, which coffee from Shoebox are you currently working on? Which ones have you really enjoyed? But the theme this month, in the same way that a couple of months ago we had East versus West, it's going to be South versus Midwest, as we got a lot of requests for Midwest based coffee roasters and that theme in general, as well as some Southern based coffee roasters. So, we currently have a nice list of Midwest based coffee roasters, and we're still looking for at least a couple of Southern based coffee roasters as well. And then the other suggestions we got, we'll take a look at Valor real quick because that had been suggested by Michael. And then we also gotten a suggestion for Nova Espresso from Connor, very small coffee roaster. So I'll pull up both of those here in a second. Okay. I just wanted to make sure the stream hadn't froze. All right. I had the Field Blend Pink Bourbon and the Ecuador Los Toles from Shoebox. We should get in touch after the stream. I kind of want to hear some things about that Los Toles. That's one of the coffees that we're actually working on, and I'm curious what the roast date of the coffee that you have is versus the one that we have. All right, Nova Espresso, and this is a different Alabama-based coffee roaster. Looks like we just have an Ethiopian and a Guatemalan coffee currently. This sounds like it's probably going to be a processed Guatemalan based off the notes. And, oh, it's a washed coffee. That's interesting. It's definitely an option if we're going to be going with, well, this is definitely an option for some additional Southern-based coffee roasters. Who do we have right now? We have Hex and Counterculture for sure. So we could even do North Carolina, but there's another coffee roaster we're going to get to hopefully here in the near future that will also fit into that category. It was directly suggested to us. The Ethiopia is delicious. The Guatemala didn't do it for me personally. Interesting. And that's kind of the antithesis to the poem that we did just recently. Okay. And let's go back then. The other one that was suggested to us was Valor. Where is Valor based out of? I know I've looked at their website quite a bit because I think that they're on our suggestion recommendation list. It was actually going to show me right there. Let's see what they currently have. They have some Rwandan coffees. They have quite a few Rwandan coffees, actually. Valor is from Atlanta. That's actually a good fit then. Valor's one I will write down too. Oh, and then of course we had Rowan. That was the other one. So we have a pretty nice selection of Southern-based coffee roasters too. All right, and Michael says Roswell, Georgia. Okay, so pretty close to Atlanta then. Just making sure the stream still hasn't froze. Okay, perfect. Okay, I tried Rwandan coffee once and I feel suspicious buying it again. I wouldn't let it affect you too much. One of the first Rwandan coffees we reviewed, actually one of the first coffees we reviewed from Nomad, which was a Rwandan coffee, or was it? I think it was a Rwandan coffee. It had a very heavy potato defect, the most we've had out of any coffee that we've ever reviewed. And it turned us off from reviewing those coffees for a while, but we've had success with them more recently, I should say. They're not that light, but the Kenyan and Free Throw are both better than what I wanted them to be, if I'm being honest. I've said in the past that I don't mind slightly more processed Kenyan coffee, so we could definitely do that. I wonder if a Kenyan coffee would stand out, given that we don't have too many Kenyan coffees currently. I don't see any Kenyan coffees on their websites, though. So they might be out of that one currently. Okay, let's try to get back to our Instagram suggestions. And we had quite a few of them. So next up, we had another suggestion for Shoebox. So I feel like Shoebox should at least be in the running here. And this was from Capemboy89. So there's more. There's a lot of people suggesting Shoebox right now. Shoebox is extremely popular. They're definitely going to be in this poll. A Curry suggested Style Coffee out of Kyoto, Japan. And let's definitely take a look. I had never heard of them before, actually. And of course, we were in Kyoto and I had very limited time to go around. It was actually just a day trip to Kyoto, and we recorded all of those reviews during that one trip. That's not it. I hope that they have a website. And we're not logged into our Instagram, but all we need to do is to get the website for it. Yeah. There we go. Perfect. And let's take a look at what Style is currently offering. Yeah, we'll translate it to English. In hindsight, maybe I should have tried to record more reviews in Kyoto as opposed to doing the vast majority in Tokyo, but there were so many coffee roasters that I wanted to review. And even in the amount of time that we were there, we recorded at least one review per day that we were there. So definitely very busy on that. A lot of Japanese coffee roasters seem to source from the same place because a lot of them seem to have a lot of the same coffees. I think I've seen this Los Cedros from a different coffee roaster too. I've also seen this exact same chart from, who was it? Skill Issue has a pretty similar looking chart to that. It doesn't go along with our theme, but it's definitely a coffee roaster I'll keep an eye out for. Definitely would love to do more Kyoto-based coffee roasters. All right, let's see. Smear Gel says, what's potato defect? So potato defect is, I want to say, how do you describe it? If it's bad green in a sense, then the coffee will actually taste like potato, and it can happen with just a couple of the beans in the bag. Like a couple beans can completely destroy the entirety of the bag, but it'll have the aroma. It'll have an off aroma, and it'll taste like a potato. Like the coffee tasted about as potato as possible. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get a better description of it. So yeah, it's a quality issue defect which results in the smell and taste of potato in it. It's common with Burundi and Rwandan coffee. So it's possible you might have experienced that. Here's a little bit more detailed of an explanation behind it. But yeah, it's happened with, I want to say, a couple of the coffees we've had. Perk in Georgia isn't bad. Haven't had their limited offerings, but might be more developed. And I don't mind doing some more developed coffees, but I don't know if they would win Coffee of the Month polls. We'll take a look at Perk. Perk has also never featured on this channel. The stream can also run a little longer. We're actually decent on battery, and I don't have anywhere else I need to be, and we have a lot of suggestions, so I don't mind running this stream just a little longer as well. I would love to review more Papua New Guinea coffees. So this is actually a big point for Perk right here. I'm going to have to narrow down these southern-based coffee roasters because originally I was thinking that we weren't going to have many southern options, but we have quite a few. I'm just going to kind of pick out which ones sound the most interesting and most exciting, I guess. I don't want to do too many runoff polls for southern coffee roasters since we're already going to be doing southern versus Midwest, but just looking at Perk right here, this Papua New Guinea sounds like a very nice coffee. Probably better southern coffee roasters. I just want to see a review. Light stuff. We do have pretty decent mix. The poem stuff wasn't necessarily overly light, and I would say we also go on the opposite side of that spectrum. Those, I think it's 43 XL III coffees were very, very light, so we do a decent job on the spectrum. Nova Espresso actually had a sick Papua New Guinea last year. We'll let you know if it pops up again. Yeah, I would really love to do the Papua New Guinea coffees. And Michael suggested Blanchard's. They have an Elo Brahe Gesha. I had a really good experience with Blanchard's when we were out in Virginia. I want to say that they're based out of Richmond. Very good coffee shop. And it would be nice to revisit them. I guess that leads to the question if Virginia technically counts as a southern state, which I would say it does, but I believe that's at people's discretion. I have a Whoosh Whoosh Coffee, LRL, and there's the Elo Brahe Gesha. We're going to be doing some Elo Brahe reviews in the relatively near future as well. So it might be interesting to compare. I've had success with Obrahe. It might be one of my favorite Colombian geshas out there. So, why is it so hard to find information on coffees? Right at the forefront, it should just say washed. I am assuming this is a wash processed coffee, but it should say washed and whatever the case is. But yeah, a very nice looking coffee. True, more mid-Atlantic, just spitballing. I appreciate the suggestion, Michael. I would still consider Virginia to be southern. I guess it's at people's discretion. I had one Papua New Guinea from Counterculture a while back, and it was very raisiny. Virginia is definitely south. See, it's at the discretion of people. Some people say it's south, some people say it's mid-Atlantic, and it could honestly go either way. It's the northernmost southern state if it is southern. But as far as the Papua New Guineas go, A little bit of a backstory behind that too. Sweet Bloom, the first time they ever released a Papua New Guinea, they were so proud of it that they brought it all over Denver and they pretty much took it to every notable coffee shop in the area. And every time I'd go into a coffee shop, I'd have a conversation about that specific coffee with the business, mostly because of just how excited everyone was for that coffee. I sent that to my best friend's wife because she's a really big fan of Papua New Guinea coffees and she absolutely loved it. So yes, definitely some really enjoyable coffees if they're done well. That was a really lovely Papua New Guinea. And if we were reviewing coffees back then, I want to say that was maybe 2016, 2017 timeframe, then we definitely would have reviewed that coffee. And then Thankwell out of Iowa. I'll take a look at that. That was suggested from John B. I mentioned in the previous live stream before it went down that it would be really nice to review an Iowa-based coffee roaster, as we're yet to do so as of this moment. Why did it take us to Tony's? Sponsored ad. Thinkwell. Okay. Not the most aesthetically pleasing bags, but we also have some Burundi coffees. Burundi would have been a great theme this month, honestly. And if this one is washed, it actually sounds, it's a natural, but it still could be nice. I should have seen that when it said heavy body and fruit punch. You know, Mexico. I have not reviewed any Mexican coffees this year. Would love to review more of those. Do you have any suggestions from Thinkwell? Anything that's been really good? This one seems like a very safe coffee. It seems like they have a lot of safe offerings with the exception of that Burundi currently. Paul says, I just got here, but have you bought from Savage before? Like his roastery, the one based in Florida? That's a good point. Savage would fit into the Southern theme, and I'm yet to buy anything from Savage. And I've heard mixed things about his coffees as well as Native's coffees, but they're two coffee roasters, specifically Native, that we've tried to feature on this channel. They're also just not winning any of the Coffee of the Month polls. We did pick up a Savage coffee recently. I'm trying to remember where we picked it up from. Oh, we ordered it from Wesson Gopi. We ordered Wesson Gopi Savage. So for anybody that's interested, we might run through that real quick and take you through it, but we'll see what Savage is currently offering. This fits with our theme. And if we were to pick one, it would probably be Terroir. Iridescence can also be nice. We have a lot of familiarity with Savage's coffees over the years, actually. I have Deborah. Let's see here. So out of the offerings that they have right now, Ellipse seems like an option. Probably Iridescence is what we would look at. I'm wondering how expensive these coffees actually are. This is just a regular washed Bourbon. Honestly, if there's one coffee that I'd be most interested in reviewing, it's this, because it's a non-Gesha Panamanian coffee. Let's definitely toss this one on there. We're going to have a lot of narrowing down to do when it comes to these Southern-based coffee roasters. All right, so let's see what else we've got. And Kevin V suggested Hatchie from Hartman and Bermudez. And if anybody knows of any of the Panamanian Hatchie coffees that are currently being offered, the only one I know of off the top of my head is from Prodigal right now. And Prodigal did not do very well in our last Coffee of the Month poll, but yes, they do have this Hatchie coffee, and they seem to get a lot of the Hatchie coffees, the Panamanian ones specifically. It's pretty, I want to say, relatively easy to find the Colombian Hatchie coffees, but it's a lot more difficult to find the Panamanian ones, the ones from Hartman. And I don't exactly know what the processing is on this NZ Flow. Never heard that before. But this right here, if we were to do a Hatchie coffee, would be... It's an interesting option. I would maybe like to see if another coffee roaster does offer it, but it goes with another suggestion that we did have, which is a suggestion that might actually work, non-Gesha Panamanian coffees. Okay. And Kevin, if you're on the stream or if you watch this, then reach out to us and let us know if there's any other Hatchie coffees you know of. We'll take a very quick look at Native's website because Native is a Southern coffee roaster. Texas is definitely South, and they're one that we keep featuring on our Coffee of the Month poll, but they never seem to win those polls. And they still have a lot of the interesting Hatchie offerings. So Originally going into this, I was probably going to feature one of the native coffees yet again, but given that we featured them a lot, they can't seem to win the polls, and we have a number of other Southern-based coffee roasters we want to feature, probably not going to be doing it native this month either. Okay. And then the next suggestion we had was from Wade Austin Ellis, and they suggested Southern Roasters. So Wade did reach out to us. And I want to say the coffee roaster that he suggested was, is it Detour Coffee? And they're based out of Jacksonville, if I have this correct, if I'm looking at the right coffee roaster. I'm going to pull up the message. Oh, my mistake. Genre Coffee Co. Got that completely wrong. And there's a little bit of a backstory behind this. He mentioned that they had cupped the same Rwandan that, what's the name of that? Aviary has. And they cupped it blind. And a lot of people seemed to prefer Genre's version of this same coffee. I believe it's this one right here. So this is another coffee that I definitely wanted to put in the poll just to see based off of how much positive feedback there has been about it. So yes, we have tons of Southern-based coffees right now. And I think as a result, we'll kind of nix the native. We won't worry about native for right now. It'll happen at some point, but this definitely does seem like an option. And Max suggested Duck Rabbit, and this goes along with the theme once again of the Midwest coffee roasters. We did review Duck Rabbit a while back, and I had good results with them. Wouldn't mind revisiting them. We'll probably toss them on the list in the Midwest category. Again, we have so many options. Let's see here. For Midwest, yeah, Shoebox is definitely happening. And then we'll probably figure out the rest from there. Let's see what they've got. Interesting sounding Chiroso that's currently sold out. More Rwandan coffees. There we go. There's a Tanzanian coffee. This would be our pick. This is probably going to be our pick. Finally, nice to see a Tanzanian coffee. I think since we've had suggestions for non-Panamanian geishas and Tanzanian coffees, if we can find them, we will give them preference towards actually putting them on this list as well. But yes, Duck Rabbit, we will put their Tanzanian coffee. Okay. And then Jesse from Rising Coffee reached out to us and said, as always, so we'll take a look at what Rising is currently offering. They won't fit in our theme. Rising's based out of New York, so they're on the East Coast. But at some point, we will revisit them. Honey processed geisha. I think this is the same one last time we looked at their website. So Jesse, if you're watching the stream, at some point, release a Meherado coffee, and I guarantee you that I will purchase it. Okay. Next up, we had RDIBBZ, and they suggested springtime theme. And that's kind of what I was going for with some of the coffees that we've picked as well. If we could find something floral to go with this spring theme, then I feel like that would be another really nice option to go with. So we will definitely see about that. Okay, and let's see what else. Next up, we had, is it Den, and they suggested A Matter of Concrete. And to answer the question about whether I like coffees from Yemen, I want to say that I have decent experience with some. We usually don't review them. I know everyone was really high on the ones that Exposure Therapy had released. We've had a number of them specifically from Coffea Circular, mostly as samples, and they've been fine. They kind of vary. They can be pretty decent for being as processed as they are. They turn out a little cleaner in general. I'm kind of curious to see where Yemen coffee is going to go from here because it's seeming to become a little bit more mainstream at this point. a matter of concrete. I wouldn't mind trying some more coffees from a matter of concrete. They have such an impressive selection of coffees. The issue is for a lot of people, they roast a little bit more developed than a lot of people would like. And I'm hoping that their website isn't down and we can't take a look at them. But okay, so it looks like we can't take a look at what a matter of concrete is offering right now, but at some point, there's a strong chance that we will revisit them, mostly because they do have some really nice offerings a lot of the time. Okay, and this was one of the other suggestions to us, and it's why we've been looking at it. It was from, what's that, Relam, and they suggested non-Panamanian geishas. So that's why we've been looking at a lot of those. Those are coffees that already interest me. I love reviewing non-Panamanian geishas in general. So we picked out a couple of them. We do have them. And then Kit's Genius suggested Native Hatchie. So I'm going to take another look at that one more time because it would be really nice to review them at some point. I still haven't even received any samples of them yet. So at some point, we will be getting to Native and Hatchie. And then Burnt Turd suggested Ashy, and I'm not entirely sure what that's in reference to. I looked it up before the stream to figure out if it's a coffee roaster or if they meant Arashi, but oh, is this? Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. So I might need to reach out specifically and ask about that. And then I think this is a burner account, but Ichiran Japan themselves suggested coffee in the southern United States. So there was another suggestion for southern-based coffee roasters. So we have a giant list of those. And then the last suggestion we had was from, looks like Hayu PA at 96, and they suggested Noisy from Shanghai. I hope I said that correct. And I did order a couple of coffees from them from Airworks, so we will be reviewing them here in the near future, but let's take a look at what they're currently offering on their website if we do have access to their website. And it looks like this is just their Instagram, so I don't think we have access to their website. But yeah, we're going to be reviewing them. I don't remember which ones we picked up from Airworks, but we did order their coffees. Okay, and I'll stick around for just a little bit in case anybody has any suggestions, but it looks like we have a giant list of coffee roasters that we can pick from right now. And Paul says a lot of Korean roasters have really good greens right now. Momo's, Claremento, Identity are ones that come to mind. Ecuadorian, Whoosh Whoosh at Momo's. I'll take a very quick look at all of those since we have some extra time and still some battery, and the stream hasn't froze yet. Momo's coffee. If there's one coffee roaster that just seems to benefit from success with really good green, it's Claremento. I've had such wonderful results from them. I don't know if they're as good as they are, but because the samples I've had haven't been impressive, but the two coffees we've reviewed from them have been impressive. Momo's almost always seems to have a very nice selection of coffees. Look at this, an Ecuadorian SL28. If this was washed, this would be so unbelievably high on my list, but it looks like it might be some sort of process on here. Oh, it is washed. And my Korean actually, it's not the worst ever. I'm learning Korean still, but yeah, this right here is a very interesting coffee. I've never seen an SL28 Ecuadorian coffee before. Momo's has some exceptional offerings right now. I don't love their roast profile, but I'm going to see if maybe some of the other coffee roasters you mentioned does have something pretty similar. Sorry, SL28, not Whoosh Whoosh. Thank you for suggesting that. I really wonder if it's worth going up to Vancouver to see if there's that coffee shop. Is it Yuan? Because they carry Momo's pretty regularly. If they have that SL28, I would love to try out that coffee. I would love to review that coffee. I don't know. I've never actually known. Does Claremento have a website? I feel like I've mostly looked at their information through their Instagram page. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, there we go. All products. I like the mug. Doesn't seem like they have too many offerings right now from Claramento, just the Ethiopian Brazilian coffee. And then the last one you had mentioned was, looks like Identity. These Korean coffee roasters not having websites. This isn't even the right one. This is New Hampshire. There's our review. I think we only have one Identity review, so one more would be nice because it would allow us to put them on our Asian coffee roaster tier list. Pheasant Borum Farm. Okay, so that's what we've got in terms of the Ecuadorian coffees. But yeah, we have a couple of moments. I'll kind of run through the list. If you guys have any other suggestions, then let us know. Otherwise, we'll probably be done with the stream here in just a couple of moments. So what I wrote down was Counterculture, Intelligentsia, Stumptown. Let me try to sort through these. So for Southern-based coffee roasters, Counterculture, it might get the axe given that, well, I'm undecided if I want to give it the axe since we wanted to include some bigger roasters this time around. So Counterculture, and then we've got Rowan, Valor, Perk, Savage, Genre. Those are all Southern-based coffee roasters that we can feature. And then for the Midwest, we're definitely doing Shoebox. And I'll go ahead and knock out Stumptown. We'll do Shoebox and Wonder State for sure. Intelligentsia seems like a pretty decent option. Duck Rabbit is going to be a definite one since they have that Tanzanian coffee. A World Barista Champion in 2023. Yes, thank you for that, Paul. All right, great. So we have our theme, we have our suggestions. So I guess we will go ahead and finish the stream for now. So thank you everybody that's joined. I feel like this one was really productive. We definitely got a lot of really great suggestions. I'm glad that it only froze on us once and hopefully we don't have these issues in the future. But yeah, hope everybody else enjoys the rest of the day.